Okay, hello, I'm Sydney,
I'm Trisha.
and we did our presentation on cuckoo butterflies. So this is just kind of a little bit about the birthing process of these butterflies. So they lay their eggs on this flower called the marsh gentian, I think. And this allows for protection from things eating the eggs like ants or other predators. And it actually provides a food source for the larvae. They have to actually eat their way through the flower so that they fall to the ground, and then the eggs will actually hatch on the ground. And another thing to note about this is they don't have any postnatal care, which is kind of the coolest part about these butterflies. They actually rely on ants to basically raise their young for them. So these butterflies are ectotherms, and we couldn't really find any information on how they are or how often they reproduce. But Trisha found that they tend to kind of quickly mate after the butterflies leave the ant's nest. Males specifically are kind of the first ones that are ready to mate because the female's wings really aren't unfolded once they leave the ant nest. So the males are kind of the ones to initiate the reproduction, and then females mate only one time, and that is probably because they produce so many eggs once they're pregnant, so they can either lay one egg at a time or hundreds at a time. And then once the male injects the sperm into the female, he usually dies from like 6 to 8 weeks after that.
Okay, so the coolest physiological adaptation about these butterflies is that they can mimic both the smell and the sounds of the ants that they rely on to take care of their young. So as soon as, like Sydney mentioned, they drop to the ground after hatching in these flowers, and then they begin to immediately produce this sweet substance that smells just like ant larvae, and then also they make this noise that mimics the queen ant. And so because of these two things together, they're actually treated higher up than the rest of the ant larvae, so they get this royal treatment essentially. And these ants will care for them and feed for the butterfly larvae until they enter the cocoon to become a butterfly. And then after this happens and they hatch, they produce these scale-like hairs that protect the ants from being able to eat them once they hatch. So these physiological and behavioral adaptations allow them, the butterflies themselves, to not have to care for their young. And then also, because these ants are so focused on taking care of the butterfly larvae, they actually don't reproduce as often themselves, so it represses the populations of the predators of the butterflies, which is just an increased overall survival rate of the butterflies.
And then some environmental adaptations. There's obviously other butterfly species that either can be in the same environment as these, so they have to be able to live among other butterfly species. And we also found that these ant populations can actually detect the invading butterfly species. So if that happens, these cuckoo butterflies have to be able to either move on to new ant nests or be able to adapt and find new ways to become basically invisible to these ants.
And then this slide is just our works cited that we referenced a couple times through our speech.
Sweet. Thanks.